Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai
Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai.
Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol
Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol.
Hari Naam Sankirtan ki
Jai.
তো মহাপ্রভু ঘরে ঘরে গিয়া জীব উদ্ধারিয়া যারে তারে প্রেম যাচে, ঘরে ঘরে গিয়ে সবাইকে হরিনাম বিতরণ করতে বলছেন। আর বলছেন গৃহে থাকো বনে থাকো সদা হরি বলে ডাকো। সবাই বলুন হরে কৃষ্ণ
হরে কৃষ্ণ
হরে কৃষ্ণ
হরে কৃষ্ণ
কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ
কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ
হরে হরে
হরে হরে
হরে রাম
হরে রাম
হরে রাম
হরে রাম
রাম রাম
রাম রাম
হরে হরে
হরে হরে।
শ্রীমান মহাপ্রভু কি
জয়।
তো মহাপ্রভু হরিনাম দিয়েছেন সবাইকে। হরিনাম দিলে জীব উদ্ধারিলে, অর্থাৎ হরিনামের দ্বারাই এই মায়াবদ্ধ জীব উদ্ধার লাভ করতে পারে। আসুন এখন আমরা সবাই মিলে হরিনাম করি। হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে হরে
হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে হরে।
হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে হরে।
হরে কৃষ্ণ
হরি বল।
কৃষ্ণ হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে হরে।
হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে
হরি বল হরি বল।
হরে রাম 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 হরে হরে।
হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে হরে।
গায়ে গোরা মধুর স্বরে গায়ে গোরা মধুর স্বরে
গায়ে গোরা মধুর স্বরে গায়ে গোরা মধুর স্বরে
গায়ে গোরা মধুর স্বরে গায়ে গোরা মধুর স্বরে
গায়ে গোরা মধুর স্বরে গায়ে গোরা মধুর স্বরে।
গৃহে থাকো বনে থাকো সদা হরি বলে ডাকো।
গৃহে থাকো বনে থাকো সদা হরে বলে ডাকো।
সুখে দুঃখে ভুলো না কো বদনে হরি নাম করো রে।
সুখে দুঃখে ভুলো বদনে হরি করো।
মধুর
গাই গোরা মধুর স্বরে।
সবাই বলুন হরে কৃষ্ণ
হরে কৃষ্ণ
কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ
কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ
হরে হরে রাম
হরে রাম
হরে রাম
হরে রাম
রাম রাম
রাম রাম
হরে হরে
হরে হরে।
মায়া জালে বদ্ধ হয়ে আছো মিছে কাজলয়ে।
মায়া জালে বদ্ধ হয়ে আছো মিছে কাজ লয়ে।
এখনো চেতন পেয়ে রাধা মাধব নাম বলো রে।
এখনো চেতন পেয়ে রাধা মাধব নাম কর রে।
এখনো চেতন পেয়ে রাধা মাধব নাম বলো রে।
এখনো চেতন পেয়ে রাধা মাধব নাম কর রে।
গায়ে গোরা মধুর স্বরে গায়ে গোরা মধুর স্বরে।
গাই গোরা মধুর স্বরে গাই গোরা মধুর স্বরে।
জীবন হাইলা শেষ না ভজিলে ঋষিকেশ।
জীবন হইল শেষ না ভজিলে ঋষিকে।
ভকতি বিনোদ উপদেশ একবার নাম রসে মাতরে।
ভক্তি বিনোদ উপদেশ একবার নাম রসে মাথুরে।
গায়ে মধুর স্বরে গায়ে গোরা মধুর স্বরে।
গাই গোরা গাই গোরা মধুর স্বরে।
হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে। হরে রাম 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 হরে হরে।
হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে। হরে রাম 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 হরে হরে।
হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে। হরে রাম 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 হরে হরে।
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल
हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल।
निताई गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल
हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल।
गौर प्रेमानंदे
हरि बोल।
हरि नाम संकीर्तन की।
Hare Krishna. So we welcome all of you for the second day Sravana Utsav. We thank the devotees who have performed the good melodious kirtan and bhajans. So today's afternoon session, first we welcome to all the audience from all over the world, online and offline. As usual, our translations will be going on. Maybe translator has not come one. Our Russian Mataji is there. Chinese Mataji is not there. Okay. So, we have again His Grace Pancharatna Prabhu. Pancharatna Prabhu is exalted devotee who is Dhamvasi, Prabhupada's disciple, hearing from the realized souls. Obviously, it affects a lot like me, conditioned soul. So, we are going to hear from Prabhu about every town and village. Every town and village.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for coming. Please give me your permission and your blessings that we may speak something on this topic of how to spread Krishna consciousness. So, today I thought we would begin with a song. I think we have a number of devotees who have another program they're going to, so let us begin with a song. Is there some kartals here? But today I thought we could have a different song that is on the same topic of every town and village or connected to it. This is the song Nadia Godrume, Nityananda Mahajan. So if you know it, it's a familiar song, so if you know it, you can sing along. But I'm not going to, it's ordinarily done in a, what do you call it, a special beat, but I'm going to do the regular beat. So I don't need a... Mridanga, if someone plays, that's fine, but I'm not going to try to you know. Okay? Nadia Godrume Nityananda Mahajan, Nadia Godrume Nityananda Mahajan, Patiyache Nam Hatta Jivera Karan, Patiyache Nam Hatta Jivera Karan, Shadavanjan He, Shadavanjan He, Shadavanjan He, Shadavanjan He. Prabhura Gyai Bhai, Magiye Bikha, Prabhura Gyai Bhai, Magiye Bikha, Bolo Krishna, Bhaja Krishna, Koro Krishna Shiksha, Bolo Krishna, Bhaja Krishna, Koro Krishna Shiksha. Nadia Godrume Nityananda Mahajan, Nadia Godrume Nityananda Mahajan, Patiyache Namahata Jivera Karan, Patiyache Namahata Jivera Karan. Abarada Sunya Hoy Loho Krishna Nam, Abarada Sunya Hoy Loho Krishna Nam, Krishna Mata, Krishna Pita, Krishna Dana Pran, Krishna Mata, Krishna Pita, Krishna Dana Pran. Nadia Godrume Nityananda Mahajan, Nadia Godrume Nityananda Mahajan, Patiyache Namahata Jivera Karan, Patiyache Namahata Jivera Karan. Krishnera Sangsara Koro Chariyana Char, Krishnera Sangsara Koro Chariyana Char, Jivadoya Krishna Nam Sarvadharma Sar, Jivadoya Krishna Nam Sarvadharma Sar. Nadia Godrume Nityananda Mahajan, Nadia Godrume Nityananda Mahajan, Patiyache Namahata Jivera Karan, Diyakchena Mahakta Jive Rakaram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gaur Hari Bo. Nitai Gaur Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gaur Hari Bo. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahansa Parivrajikacharya Statera Sata Sri Srimad Chidandi Goswami Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahansa Parivrajikacharya Statera Sata Sri Srimad Chidandi Goswami Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrindi Ki Jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Will they come?
If we translate side by side here.
Because there's Hati procession going on.
Oh, that's also there.
So, I mean, it's up to you, but I think the reason why there's few people here is because there's competition. Yeah, you know, there's big competition with Radha Madhava on the elephants right now. But perhaps there's some souls out there in the viewing audience, and it will be recorded, I believe, and so those, if you're not here and you're missing it, okay, of course you're not missing much. It's just me. But we'll try to see if we can become a little empowered to present something that will enlighten us, inspire us in the mission of Srila Prabhupada. We led with this song, and I'd like to read the translation of this song because it connects with our theme of every town and village. In the land of Nadia, on the island of Godruma, the magnanimous Lord Nityananda has opened up the marketplace of the holy names, meant for the deliverance of all fallen souls. O people of faith, O people of faith, by the order of Lord Gauranga, O brothers, I beg these 3 requests of you. Chant Krishna, worship Krishna, and teach others about Krishna. Being careful to remain free of offenses, just take the holy name of Lord Krishna. Krishna is your mother, Krishna is your father, and Krishna is the treasure of your life. Giving up all sinful activities, carry on with your worldly duties, but only in relationship to Lord Krishna. The showing of compassion to other souls by loudly chanting the holy name of Krishna is the essence of all forms of religion. Om Agyanathamnandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshumilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karauti Vachalam Bangam Ayate Kalam Chakripatam Ham Vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhava Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hare Krishna. So yesterday we went with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Ramkeli. In that journey, Mahaprabhu was accompanied by thousands and tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of devotees performing Sankirtan. And in that mood, as the great general of the vast Sankirtan army, Mahaprabhu declared, Pritivite ache jota nagaradi gram sarvatra prachar hoibe mora nam. He declared this truth that throughout the world, in every town and village, the holy names of Krishna, the name of Gauranga, would be heard and spread. At that place in Ramkeli, he also met Rupa and Sanatan, at the time known as Dabirakash and Sakar Malik. They actually advised him, as we hear in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that, my Lord, you are now a sannyasi. It is not fitting to proceed on pilgrimage to Vrindavan with hundreds of thousands of people like a great general or king. He heard this and accepted it and returned to Nilachala, to Jagannath Puri Dham. On the way, meeting Raghunath Das. I believe that's on the way, not going. Anyway, various places he stopped. And spent then the rainy season. There was the cleansing of the Gunjita temple. Many activities took place, Rath Yatra festival. But then he expressed his desire. He said, he couched it in these terms that I want to go to look for Vishwarup. I want to go to look for my brother who had left home at such my early age. Chaitanya Charitamrita Krishnadas Kaviraj explains that in fact, Mahaprabhu knew that Vishwarup had already left this world, but he needed an excuse. He needed to go out, to get out and preach. He was burning to spread the holy names of Krishna. In the town of Navadvip, in the land of Gauradesh, already thousands and millions had taken up the holy names of Krishna. But now he wanted to go and preach in his way. Previously, as we have heard in this song, he had ordered Nityananda to preach in Bengal. Suno suno Nityananda, suno Haridas. Gare gare, I can't remember all how it goes. And someone else knows? Anyway. To preach door to door, same thing. Bolo Krishna, Bhajo Krishna, Loho Krishna Nam. He instructed, and they did that. Therefore, here in this song, it said, by the order of Chaitanya, he has ordered you. He has ordered you. Bolo Krishna, Bhajo Krishna, Koro Krishna Sikha, teach others. But Mahaprabhu, he wanted now to do this himself. So on the plea of searching for Vishwarup, he begged the permission of Nityananda and all of the devotees to go alone. Now this was very hard. They couldn't fathom, how could the Lord go alone? I mean, there were no cell phones at this time, you know. It's not like, you get into trouble and you just, dial, and hey, I got a problem here. No. They became very concerned. And Nityananda begged, at least one person must go. He gave a very good logic. He gave a very good logic that Mahaprabhu couldn't escape. He told him, well, now you're a sannyasi, so yes, you have but you still must carry your water pot. You must carry your one cloth. But you also must continue your chanting, so your hand will be filled because Mahaprabhu used to chant like this on his fingers. That's how he chanted. You know how to chant on your fingers? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. He would chant on the joints of his fingers. 4 times 3 is 12, 12 times 9 is 108, and like this he would chant. And maybe keep count on the other fingers, how many 108s. But he would use his fingers to chant. So Nityananda appealed. He said, well, how can you chant and carry your this? So at least you need somebody to carry your water pot. So they arranged for one devotee, one simple devotee, who ended up in trouble, Krishna Das. And then he left. The devotees accompanied him as far as the Alalanath bridge, and then he walked away without turning back. Not to be seen again in Nilachala for 2 years. Prior to this, he was advised by Sarvabauma that you must meet Ramananda Rai. But he began to walk. Let us read. Let me use my other glasses. It's a little hard for me to read. These glasses are not so good. Okay. All right, I'm going to try. Murchita hana sabe, bhumita palila, taha sada Pare Prabhu, Firana Charila. Although they all fell to the ground unconscious when Mahaprabhu goes, the Lord did not turn to see them, but proceeded onward. In separation, the Lord became very much perturbed and walked on unhappily. His servant Krishna Das, who was carrying his water pot, followed behind. All the devotees remained there and fasted, and the next day they all unhappily returned to Jagannath Puri. Almost like a mad lion, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went on his tour, filled with ecstatic love and performing Sankirtan, chanting Krishna's names as follows. Let's chant together. Krishna, 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 Hey. Krishna, 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 Hey. Krishna. Krishna, Krishna, Rakshama. Krishna, 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 Pahimam. Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rakshamam. Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rakshamam. Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Pahimam. Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Pahimam. I was listening the other night. One devotee was calling attention to the significance of how Mahaprabhu entered into his journey with this song, with this prayer, with full surrender. He proceeded on the path for his Sankirtan mission, beginning with the mood of surrendering himself fully to the protection of Krishna. He's alone, one assistant. Of course, he's the Supreme Lord, but still he's demonstrating the mood of the Sankirtan devotee, to give ourselves to the protection of Krishna. So in this way, he began his tour, chanting. Chanting this verse, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, known as Gaura Hari, went on his way. As soon as he saw someone, he would request him to chant, Hari, Hari. Whoever heard Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chant, Hari, Hari, also chanted the holy name of Lord Hari and Krishna. In this way, they all followed the Lord, very eager to see him. After some time, the Lord would embrace these people and bid them return home, having invested each of them with spiritual potency. In his Amrita, this is the purport by Srila Prabhupada. In his Amrita Pravaha Bhashya, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains that this spiritual potency is the essence of the pleasure potency and the knowledge potency, the Hladini Shakti and the Chit Shakti. By these two potencies, one is empowered with devotional service. Lord Krishna himself, or his representative, the unalloyed devotees, can mercifully bestow these combined potencies upon any man. Being thus endowed with such potencies, one can become an unalloyed devotee of the Lord. Anyone favored by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was empowered with this Bhakti Shakti. Thus the Lord's followers were able to preach Krishna consciousness by divine grace. Next verse. Each of these empowered persons would return to his own village, always chanting the holy name of Krishna, and sometimes laughing, crying, and dancing. Such an empowered person would request everyone and anyone, whomever he saw, to chant the holy name of Krishna. In this way, all the villagers would also become devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. In order to become an empowered preacher, one must be favored by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or his devotee, the spiritual master. One must also request everyone to chant the Maha Mantra. In this way, such a person can convert others to Vaishnavism, showing them how to become pure devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Next verse, people from different villages who came to see such an empowered individual would become like him, simply by seeing him and receiving the mercy of his glance. When each of these newly empowered individuals returned to his own village, he also converted the villagers into devotees. And when others came from different villages to see him, they were also converted. In this way, an empowered man went from one village to another. All the people of South India became devotees. Thus, many hundreds of people became Vaishnavas when they passed the Lord on the way and were embraced by him. This is Mahaprabhu's viral method of spreading Krishna consciousness. We spoke a little bit about it yesterday. We're going to continue. So the first thing that we have to see here, very important in this strategy, we see that to begin, the people the Mahaprabhu would connect with, they would begin by taking the chanting themselves and begin to follow. And then we should take note very carefully here how it's explained that after some time, then the Lord would embrace them. So the beginning of this strategy is to somehow or other get people to begin to take up this chanting, and then to see them follow. And then once their sincerity has been established, then to embrace and become invested with his potency. To receive the empowerment of the Supreme Lord is absolutely needed for us to spread Krishna consciousness. We cannot spread this Krishna consciousness movement through some show bottle by just making a show of Krishna consciousness. We have to be Krishna conscious to give it to others. We have to practice. We have to take it up ourselves to give it to someone else. This was Srila Prabhupada's method as well. with his absolute faith in the order of his spiritual master, he was willing to sit down beneath a tree and just chant. There is some wonderful, if you study this and you go into the various places, Prabhupada speaks of this many, many times, how he started this movement simply by sitting down and chanting. And others would come, they would hear, and they began chanting. And after some time, when the chanting of the holy names exerted its influence, this purification, Chaito Darpanamarjanam, as the power of the holy names of Krishna entered into the hearts of these devotees, to be devotees, then they became embraced into, in this case, Srila Prabhupada's family, and as we're hearing here, Mahaprabhu's family. But then they started being sent out to do the same thing. So this viral strategy of Mahaprabhu succeeded in spreading the chanting of the holy names of Krishna throughout South India. And he kept going. Krishnadas Kaviraj explains after this, he says, this was his method, and although he doesn't repeat it, he says, this is what he was doing. He just, everywhere he went, he would do the same thing. He proceeded from that point, Chaitanya Charitamrita relates that he reaches, here's something I wanted to bring out though before that. In the next purport, I found something quite interesting that I felt we should look at. Because at this time, Krishnadas Kaviraj explains that in the environment of Bengal, Mahaprabhu often found himself confronted with an audience that was not so receptive. They were too much interested in the smarta system. So instead, in South India, he found himself with a very receptive audience. And Prabhupada makes this wonderful comment here. By this it is understood that people are really interested in preaching in a favorable situation. If the candidates for conversion are too disturbing, a preacher may not attempt to spread Krishna consciousness amongst them. It is better to go where the situation is more favorable. So when I read this, I was thinking of Srila Prabhupada himself. When Srila Prabhupada first arrived in America, he had no idea. How is he going to spread Krishna consciousness? Prior to Srila Prabhupada's arrival, there were other swamis that would come. And generally speaking, these swamis, they would go to the more higher segments of the society with their, nice talk. So the first stop after Butler, Pennsylvania, where he stayed with Sally and Gopal Agarwal, was to go on the invitation of Dr. Mishra. Somehow they were acquainted. I believe Dr. Mishra was also Bengali. And he had a yoga ashram outside of New York. And he invited Srila Prabhupada to come. But he was simply a Mayavadi. And they would argue. But Dr. Mishra also enjoyed Prabhupada's kirtan. So Prabhupada did kirtan, he would speak. Dr. Mishra also gave him a place to stay. This was in the Upper West Side of Manhattan, New York. Now, I don't know, some of you are familiar with New York. My wife is familiar with New York. But most of you are not so familiar. New York City is not like Calcutta is today, where you'll have very nice residences, and right next to it you'll have slums, or what we call busties or whatever. But New York is very, very divided into the higher quality neighborhoods, the medium quality neighborhoods, and the lower quality neighborhoods. So the higher quality neighborhoods are up on the upper side of the island of Manhattan, the core of New York City. And the Upper West Side, the Riverside Drive, where this small place was given to Srila Prabhupada, was in that, more elite section of New York City. And there were a few students who began to come to hear about his Gita talks. But it was not really making much headway. And then one day, one of the students said, I actually have a place down in lower Manhattan, and I'm going to California, and this is where you're staying is really not very, very comfortable. There was not even a bathroom in the place that Srila Prabhupada was staying. His cook, everything was so difficult. This was also the winter time. Outside there's snow. He said that, we've heard that when Srila Prabhupada first saw snow, he looked out the window and everything was white, and he thought somebody came overnight and took a big paintbrush and whitewashed all the buildings or something. He'd never seen it before. So he took the opportunity. He went down to this apartment on the Bowery. Now, again, most of you don't know New York City. I'm trying to think of any comparison to the Bowery of New York City, with any city you may be familiar with. But this was, you have the higher section, you have the middle section, you have the lower section, and then you got the Bowery. It's below the lower. The prime residents of the Bowery were drunkards. And these are drunkards who are so addicted to alcohol that they've lost everything, and they just sleep on the sidewalks, and anyway, Srila Prabhupada, to enter into this place, would have to step over the unconscious bodies of drunk people, often stewing in their own vomit. There's a particular smell to the Bowery. Now it's different. It's not like it was in 1965, 66. It's all, nothing in Manhattan is low anymore. Everything is high. But at that time it was low. And because of that, because it was the lower east side, it was the lower area, it was also the most inexpensive place. And thus, the young people who had given up on the materialistic society of the day, searching for some alternative, had begun to assemble in that area, known popularly as the hippies. So here Srila Prabhupada finds himself, and now he finds an audience where he finds receptivity. So I was reading this and thinking, this is the story of Srila Prabhupada also. That he left the environment of the so-called upper tiers of society to enter into the realm of the lost souls of that time. Mahaprabhu did the same. He left Gauradesh and went to South India. So, as he traveled, he came to a place known as Kurmaketra. And he saw the deity and offered prayers there and exhibited pure love of Krishna. In one village, now I'm reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is 7:121. In one village there was a Vedic Brahmin named Kurma. He invited Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to his home with great respect and devotion. This Brahmin brought Lord Chaitanya to his home, washed his lotus feet, and with his family members drank that water. With great affection and respect, that Kurma Brahmin made Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu eat all kinds of food. After that, the remnants were shared by all the members of the family. The Brahmin then began to pray, "O my Lord, your lotus feet are meditated upon by Lord Brahma, and these very lotus feet have come in to my home. My dear Lord, there is no limit to my great fortune. It cannot be described. Today, my family, birth, and riches have all been glorified." The Brahmin begged Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, "My dear Lord, kindly show me favor and let me go with you. I can no longer tolerate the waves of misery caused by materialistic life." Srila Prabhupada's purport. This statement is applicable for everyone, regardless of how rich or prosperous one may be. Narottam Das Thakur has confirmed this statement. Sangsara vishalnale diva nisha jale. He states that the materialistic way of life causes a burning in the heart, when it cannot make any provisions for the troublesome life of the material world. It is a fact that one may be very happy as far as riches are concerned, and one may be very opulent in every respect, yet one has to manage the Vishayas to meet the demands of the body and of so many family members and subordinates. One has to take so much trouble to minister to others. Narottam Das Thakur therefore prays, "Vishaya chariya kabe sudha habe man." Thus one must become freed from the materialistic way of life. One has to merge himself in the ocean of transcendental bliss. In other words, one cannot relish transcendental bliss without being freed from the materialistic way of life. It appears that the Brahmin named Kurma was materially very happy, for he expressed his family tradition as Janma Kuladhana. Now, being glorious, he wanted to leave all these material opulences. He wanted to travel with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. According to the Vedic way of civilization, one should leave his family after attaining 50 years of age and go to the forest of Vrindavan to devote the rest of his life to the service of the Lord. End of purport. But here's Mahaprabhu's response. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, "Don't speak like that again. Better to remain at home and chant the holy name of Krishna always. Purport. It is not advisable in this age of Kali to leave one's family suddenly, for people are not trained as proper brahmacharis and grihastas. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advised the Brahmin not to be too eager to give up family life. It would be better to remain with his family and try to become purified by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra regularly under the direction of a spiritual master. This is the instruction of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. If this principle is followed by everyone, there is no need to accept sannyas. In the next verse, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advises everyone to become an ideal householder by offensively chanting the Hare Krishna mantra and teaching the same principle to everyone he meets. So this is a verse next, which I think everyone will know. Jare deko, tae kaho, Krishna upadesh, Amar agai guru har tara edesh. Instruct everyone to follow the orders of Lord Sri Krishna as they are given in the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. In this way, become a spiritual master and try to liberate everyone in this land. Purport. This is the sublime mission of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Many people come and inquire whether they have to give up family life to join the society, but that is not our mission. One can remain comfortably in his residence. We simply request everyone to chant the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. If one is a little literate and can read Bhagavad Gita as it is and Srimad Bhagavatam, that is so much the better. These works are now available in an English translation and are done very authoritatively to appeal to all classes of men. This was the we've learned from his activities that Mahaprabhu would induce people to chant the holy names of Krishna and to teach others. But the second part we find here is that he makes it very clear you can do this from home. You can do this by remaining where you are. You don't have to give up your way of life. Simply give up the materialistic attitude to your life and use your life for the service of Krishna. This was Mahaprabhu's and Srila Prabhupada's special strategy to empower everyone. This verse, Jare dako tahe kaho Krishna upadesh, Amara agyai ha tara edesh. By the order of Mahaprabhu, by his order, we can become empowered to spread Krishna consciousness, to induce others. Of course, first we must accept. We must become Krishna conscious ourselves if we are to give it to others. Therefore, we saw how initially Mahaprabhu would first observe, are they chanting? then he would embrace and invest his power. So we have to present ourselves. We have to take up the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra with all sincerity, giving up the offenses. The song that we sang in the beginning, Aparada Sunya Hoy Lo Krishna Nam. We have to set aside all the varieties of mentalities which stand in the way of hearing the holy names of Krishna purely. Chanting with the feeling of being Krishna's servant, with surrender. As we noted in the beginning, Mahaprabhu he started walking, chanting Krishna, 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 hey! Arms upraised, in the mood of supplication. I am your surrendered soul. If we take the holy names of Krishna in this way, we chant the holy names, then we will get the empowerment of Mahaprabhu and of Srila Prabhupada. Yesterday we talked about how wonderful Srila Prabhupada's empowerment was. How with a simple word or a simple sentence, the devotees were able to make miracles happen. If you listen and you hear about the early days of ISKCON, one after another, miracles happen. One of them that is extraordinary, Shyama Sundar recollects how in the first year, or first months, I suppose, of this opening of the temple in San Francisco, the rent was due. They had to pay for the rent, and they had no money. And it was late, and it was, the landlord was like, where's the rent? Where's the rent? And it was like, okay, we somehow, and it was hundreds of dollars. They had nothing. They'd been trying this, trying that. And then Shyama Sundar relates how one morning the rent is like due that day, or they're out on the street. And he and Malati are walking up the, I guess it was Haight Street. This is a section of San Francisco called Haight-Ashbury, and there's two streets, Haight Street and Ashbury Street, they cross. And all of a sudden, he looks up and there's $100 bills floating out of a window onto the ground. And he and Ma just gather it all up, and they run back, and here it is, Krishna has provided. This was the power of Srila Prabhupada's empowerment. By giving that service, by giving them the mission, the order. When we receive the order of Guru and Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his order, and Srila Prabhupada's order, and we accept this as our life, that order contains the power to execute it. That was the faith that Srila Prabhupada had coming to the West. He knew he must proceed. He was ordered to proceed. He didn't know how it could happen. Initially, he's told us that when he got the order from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He was a family man, but he had accepted it. He states how at that moment, the very time that he met Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, at that time when he had accepted, here is my Guru Maharaj, here is my master, at that very first meeting. And then he began to contemplate, how can I fulfill this order of my Guru? And his inclination, well, you know, things are pretty expensive in the West. I have to make a lot of money. And he knew that he had that power because he'd been trained, he had the education, some astrologer or some other, or maybe some advisor, I think, not an astrologer, but an advisor in business said, you have the power. You could become very, very successful. Just, he had started and he was, okay, I will, and he was. He built up his business. He was doing very, very well with the Prayag pharmacy. He's built it up. He had famous customers. It said that Jawaharlal Nehru would come to his shop, and he was doing extremely well. But he was still eager how to do this. And he thought, all right, let me get a foothold here in India. In that purport that we described, we were talking about how he sought out a more receptive audience. He talks about this in relationship to his attempts in India. How he attempted to spread this movement by beginning here in India. So I need money and I need men. If I'm going to preach in the West, I need money, I need men, I need literatures, I need all of these things. So he began, all right, let me start the League of Devotees. But bit by bit, it all unravels. First, he gets the telegram. Everything is gone. All the cash, all the inventory, everything is gone. I once tried to make a calculation of what the value was of 20,000 rupees and the inventory, etc. And by my calculation, using the price of gold at that time and this time and so on, it was somewhere in the range of $200,000. It wasn't a small amount. And then the League of Devotees, the property that was being offered, that also collapses. But still with this idea that how can I go to the West without any money? He goes back to Calcutta and attempts to revive his business, but everything is just not working. And on top of that, his own family, his wife, is entirely unsympathetic. And finally, he walks out with nothing. On a struggle, on such an intense struggle for years, 3, 4, 5 years, penniless, begging to sell not begging from others, for himself, but begging for money to print his books, to print his newspapers, his Back to Godhead, maintaining on hardly anything. But driven by the order of his Guru, and relying on that power, the power of the order of the spiritual master, the power of the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And in that way, we see, though it was a struggle, that power ultimately breaks through every obstacle, and out comes ISKCON. as we mentioned yesterday, in a few years, through this viral system of embracing, teaching others Krishna consciousness, giving them the holy name, and then giving them the order, and giving them the empowerment. He empowered his disciples, go out. What was that empowerment? How do we find that? How do we find that empowerment in our lives to execute the mission? I was looking at this and seeing, where does it come from? Where does this empowerment come from? The first element is to accept that it is only the empowerment of Krishna that can achieve anything. So long as we think it is our power, we will be held back. So long as we think that by our activity of being I'll be very successful on Sankirtan, I'll distribute lots of books, and then I will get the #1, and in the arti they're going to call my name, and I will be able to proudly proclaim I was #1. If our motivations are for our own prestige, then we won't be doing kirtan hari. We'll be doing kirtan mami, or whatever, our own glorification. So the empowerment comes when we accept Chanadapi sunichena, Tarorapi sihishuna, Amanina manadena, Kirtaniya sadahari. In that mood, we can proclaim true kirtan of Hari, of Krishna. And that power comes through. So that is the first step for us, to accept our own lack of power, our own inability to surrender and be humble and place ourselves as instruments for our spiritual masters and for Krishna, Gauranga Mahaprabhu. And take that order as our own life. Then the power will come. And if we see that things are not, we're attempting, we're trying, but there are no results, first of all, we have to be full of faith. Srila Prabhupada himself, when he came to the West, came to him for the first year, there was nothing. He describes how every so often he would go down to the Scindia steam office somewhere in the lower Manhattan and inquire, when's the next ship going back? Nothing's. But let me try. Let's just a little bit more, a little bit more. And his faith was in, I have to make the effort. And Krishna reciprocated. Not immediately, not the first month, first few months, practically the first year of his presence in America was just searching for a way. And then it begins to unfold. Srila Prabhupada, when he arrived in Boston, wrote a poem. And I don't know the Bengali so well. But at the end of the poem, he said, "If you have brought me here to dance," he said, "I'm like a puppet. I'm simply like a putul." I think he uses the term putul. I'm just a puppet. So if you have brought me here to dance, then make me dance. Make me dance like a puppet. That mood of surrender is what empowered Srila Prabhupada with the power of Nityananda, the power of Gauranga Mahaprabhu, to spread the Krishna consciousness movement. And that same empowerment, as we put ourselves in the hands of Srila Prabhupada, will manifest, and we can help to spread this wonderful movement, which is so much needed. This accepting the order is fundamental to the ability to help this movement, but also fundamental is that we have to believe in it. We have to truly believe that the world needs this. We have to believe, and we have to see. We have to see past the illusions of this world. See how even the rich and famous are simply suffering. What to speak of in this life, their future is dark. We have to see this and feel that the mercy that we've received should go to them as well. So armed with the order of Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada and the spirit of compassion, we can take on the mission and join in Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan army with Srila Prabhupada is our Senapati Bhakta, our commander leading the way. Thank you very much. We have a little time, 15 minutes, so we have some time for any questions or comments or more kirtan. Either way. Anyone have any questions on what I've been speaking about? Yesterday we had some interesting questions. Went in a completely different direction, but anyway, it was interesting. About Varnashram and so on. Any questions? No? If not, then we'll do some more kirtan. Oh, yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
for such a wonderful session. I like to know that how we can embody that mood that Srila Prabhupada has. Like he always asks his spiritual master, how I can serve you. So sometimes we try to have such a mood, but when extreme conditions or certain conditions arises in our seva or sadhana, we give up. So how you can, we can say Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Stitidir Muni Uchyada. So how you can be like that at our beginning stage of devotional service? Can you please elaborate?
So let me try to understand your question. So I think I'm hearing you say that in our devotional service, sometimes we're frustrated. I know that. We have plans how to serve. And we try, and then there's no result, or something else goes wrong. So what I'm hearing you say is, well, how can we be like Srila Prabhupada, who also met with obstacles and remain dedicated, remain determined in spite of those obstacles. Is that what you're asking? Not easy. Many devotees, they do actually give up. But if we analyze, what are they actually giving up? They're giving up their faith that Krishna is in control. If we act and we understand and we accept that we have to work, but Krishna is in control of the results, then it doesn't matter if we succeed or fail. But as soon as we start thinking that, well, maybe Krishna's not concerned, or doesn't, I'm just off doing something that question will come when we fail, when things don't work. Then we have to look inside and see, well, am I doing the wrong thing? Am I over-endeavoring? Because Prabhupada talked about that, over-endeavoring. So this requires some deep thought to analyze. What's the problem here? Is it time? Am I trying to do something that is not appropriate for this particular time? Am I doing it the wrong way? Maybe there's some mistake in my approach here. So this requires a mood of determination is there to serve, but flexibility to change. There's a wonderful saying in the West. It's called the Serenity Prayer. And it goes like this. And I'll just say Krishna instead of God. Okay, Krishna, grant me the serenity to accept what I can't change, the courage to change what I can, and the wisdom to understand the difference. So this is my suggestion. When you're faced with obstacles, never give up your determination, but be willing to change. Approach senior devotees. Talk about it. But talk about it not with the ego of, why am I not getting this, I'm so good, I should be. But talking about it from the perspective of, I'm totally dependent on Krishna. This is not working. I think I'm doing the best. I think that I've got it, but maybe I don't. Can you help me? And we talk about it. And of course, you can also talk to your guru, and you can talk to Srila Prabhupada about it. Srila Prabhupada is there for us to talk to. His responses may come in various ways. You open up a book and there's the answer, Or a devotee comes, or, however it comes. But we talk about it. But never giving up the faith, the hope. Because this is Mahaprabhu has said it. Pritivite ache chotanagarali gram sarvatra prachar hoibe maranam. He's said it. It will happen. It must happen. He's declared. This will happen. Hobe. Right? I don't know in Bengali what is maybe and will be. What would, huh? Hoitu is maybe? No, what is, because in English we say maybe. And or will be. So Mahaprabhu doesn't say maybe, he says will be. Hobe. Right? Sarvacha prachar hoibe maranam. It will happen. Not maybe happen. So, yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavad Pranam. Prabhu, this Prabhupada, when first met his Guru Maharaj in 1922, that time itself he accepted him as his Guru. And in 1932, he took his disciple.
1933.
In 1932. And
33.
then on, he was very much knowledgeable person, Vedic knowledge. Guru Maharaj asked him to propagate the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the English language. And he accepted it. He tried his best. He started Back to Godhead Patrika. Then a lot of efforts he has taken to propagate this message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in India. He formed the League of Devotees in Jhansi. And and before going to America, he has got one devotee only, one disciple. Isn't it? Now, then he went to America and he got all this within 1-2 years. What is the difference? How did he could not make it in India? And how he could make it in America?
This is what he said. I didn't read the whole purport, but let me see if I can go back to it. Okay, hold on. So I read that how it is better to go where the situation is more favorable. So Srila Prabhupada writes, this Krishna consciousness movement was first attempted in India, but the people of India, being absorbed in political thoughts, did not take to it. They were entranced by the political leaders. We preferred, therefore, to come to the West, following the order of our spiritual master. And by the grace of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this movement is becoming successful. So that's what he says. India at the time was too absorbed in political thoughts. Now, I was a part of the community that Srila Prabhupada came to in America. I became a follower of Srila Prabhupada in 1970. But in 1966, 67, I wasn't in New York City, but I went in 68, I went to San Francisco, and I came across devotees here and there. So I can tell you that we were of a very different mindset than people of the world. We were open, we were ready. So Krishna understood this, and it was his order. So Prabhupada's response to your question is that the people of India were not ready. They weren't ready. They were too, in his words, they were too absorbed in, they're a new country. You know, this is the first decade of independence. And everyone's thinking, we're going to rise up and become again. That's the mood. And the mood of the leaders is also to minimize spirituality. What is it that rather, worship the factory. Build factory, don't build temples, build factories. That was the mood. Give up the old. So the environment was just not favorable. Whereas the opposite was in America. Give up the new. Give up this. We've succeeded. Because especially by 1960, this is just after World War II, America was booming. I mean, the economy was amazing. They were sending people to the moon. Everything was just, and people were enjoying material life. I mean, my parents and their generation, they were fully, they had houses, they had cars, they had gone. One of the main things that happened after the war was that the government provided free education, free college education to all of the soldiers who came back. They all got to go to college. They all got good jobs. The factories were booming. Everything was humming. The road that the president built, these amazing interstate highways. America was on top of the world. And let's all stay on top by fighting those commies in Vietnam. And we, the children of this generation, were becoming disgusted with it, disgusted with the war in Vietnam, disgusted with the superficial quality of our parents and their values, disgusted with the government, disgusted with the treatment of the black population. We were disgusted with it. We wanted out. And we just got out. We left it all. I went to a corner of New Mexico and just started, I won't get into the stories of how we lived. Because also we found drugs, and drugs, they also gave us a way out. And our music, we wanted out. We were another, how did Srila Prabhupada put it? Somebody asked him, what do you think of the hippies? Right? And what was his answer? Something extraordinary. So this was it. We were ready to accept him, to accept the mantra, to join in that kirtan, and to put our whole soul. We had already given up everything else, and here we got something that we wanted to save the world too, because we saw the world going to hell. There's U.S., even now we're seeing shades of this coming, but at that time there was the USSR, the Soviet Union, and the America with enough bombs pointed at each other to completely wipe out the entire planet. Some scientists came up with what they call the doomsday clock. And according in 1968, and that time, that clock, if you put doomsday, meaning, finished, at midnight, right? They set the clock at 3 minutes to. That close. That was the world that Srila Prabhupada came to. And we received him and became his dancing white elephants. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jai Shri.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you very much for your wonderful lecture, experience, practical, how you were with in that moment with Srila Prabhupada. So we thank to Prabhu by chanting 3 times. Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol! So today's the Sravana Utsav, second day's last lecture. We are fortunate to have this exalted devotees with us. So now we welcome His Grace Premanjana Prabhu. In this Sravana Utsava, Bengali and English lecture. Special effects of Prabhuji. So yesterday Prabhu was speaking on the Chota Haridas, chastising Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, chastising the Chota Haridas. Today Prabhu will speak on Mahaprabhu defeating the great Sarvabauma Bhattacharya. So after the lecture there will be prasadam for all the devotees. So we welcome Prabhuji with Haridwani and Uludwani.
Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manabhishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamiham Dadati Shapadantikam Mandaham Sri Guruhu Sri Juto Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagun Raghunathannitam Tang Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagun Lalita Sri Vishakhanitangscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namahastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhavinda Vaneshwari Vishabhanu Shruti Devi Pranamami Haripriye Mancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhubba Evacha Patitanang Pavanibho Vaishnavibho Namo Namo Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukhaṁ karati vācālaṁ, pangam langhayate girim, yat kripa tamahang bande Sri Grindinatarinam, Paramananda Madhavam, Sri Chaitanya Mishram. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Swarupa Damodara Shaminiti Namine Namashad Bhaktamane Manipur Udbhavaya Cha Prabhupadala Sadbani Prachara Niratayate Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimati Jayapataka Shaminiti Namine Namacharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Pradayine Gaura Katha Dhamadaya Nagara Grama Tarine Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Shaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirbishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine. Hare Krishna. So today we are going to read from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's first times with Sarvabauma Bhattacharya, how Sarvabauma Bhattacharya got liberation. This is Untitled Chapter 6, the liberation of Sarvabauma Bhattacharya. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas, then immediately after sannyas he visited Advaita Acharya's house in Shantipur, and there his mother also came. So he asked his mother, where should I stay? Although I have taken sannyas, I like to be closer to you. So Shachimata suggested that you stay in Puri, because Puri is very close to Bengal, and many times devotees are visiting Jagannath Ratha Jatra. So I'll get information about you. So it is better if you can stay in Puri. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted the order of his mother. Then with some of his followers, he started to run practically to Puri. And when he came near Bhubaneswar, there is a river called Bhargi river, and he wanted to take bath there. So he had done danda, he received from his sannyas guru, and he handed over this danda to Nityananda Prabhu, that you please hold this danda, I will take bath. After taking bath, he asked the danda, but Nityananda Prabhu completely broke this danda into 3 pieces. Because Nityananda Prabhu thought, he is God himself. He doesn't require sannyas. In Dwapara Yuga, he was marrying 16,108 wives. Why he is carrying this danda? Anyway, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was performing pastime suitable for this age. He came to establish devotional service, and that's why he was also, he took sannyas as part of following Varnashram. But God is always beyond Varnashram. And Nityananda Prabhu understood this, and that's why he did not like that Mahaprabhu is carrying that danda. So he said, danda was broken and I don't know where it is. So Mahaprabhu got little upset and he started running. I will not stay with you, because you are all disgusting, disturbing. So Mahaprabhu started running very speedily. And he alone, nobody could, run with Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu was so speedy, nobody could catch him. So he came to Nilachal Puri and very quickly entered to the temple, and he came very close to Jagannath, Baladev and Subhadra. And just by seeing Jagannath, he got fainted. He lost his external consciousness. And immediately some pandas, they came with some stick. Hey, oh, where from this rascal is coming? They were in that mood. Beat him, beat him. But Sarvabauma Bhattacharya was there by chance. Sarvabauma Bhattacharya. So when he saw this sannyasi is very, very beautiful, beauty of Srimati Radharani, very, very beautiful. And color of his skin was like molten gold. So Sarvabauma Bhattacharya, although he was a Mayavadi sannyasi, he got attracted. He became attracted. And then he asked his disciples and some of the assistants that he carry this, because Mahaprabhu is unconscious, so carry him. So many people, Mahaprabhu's body was huge. Many people, they carried Mahaprabhu. It is written in Chaitanya Bhagavat and Chaitanya Charitamrita that they are carrying just like a group of ants. They carry a piece of rice. You have seen many ants together, they carry a piece of rice. So Mahaprabhu was like a piece of rice, and all the disciples and assistants of Jagannath, they were carrying Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the house of Sarvabauma Bhattacharya. Actually, Sarvabauma Bhattacharya was a very influential man. He was the Sabha Pandit. He was the main scholar in the assembly of King Prataprudra. He was very influential Pandit, scholar. So, and also in those days, people were not miser. People were very generous. So Sarvabauma Bhattacharya, economically he was well-to-do person. So he did not mind to give shelter of so many devotees. With Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not alone. Because when they carried Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, just after a few minutes, the group of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's follower, Nityananda Prabhu, Mukunda Datta, all these devotees, they followed him. They are also running. And when they came to Jagannath temple, they just overheard that some sannyasi came here few minutes back and he got fainted and he is taken to Sarvabauma Bhattacharya's house. They immediately could understand, Nityananda Prabhu understood that this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then Gopinath Acharya came. Gopinath Acharya was, I think, son-in-law of Sarvabauma Bhattacharya. And Sarvabauma Bhattacharya was brother-in-law. Sarvabauma Bhattacharya was brother-in-law. So, so Gopinath Acharya is also brother-in-law. So then, when he heard that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has been taken to Sarvabauma Bhattacharya's house, immediately the whole group, they ran to Sarvabauma Bhattacharya's house, and when they reached there, they saw Mahaprabhu is completely unconscious. Then Sarvabauma Bhattacharya took a piece of cotton, swab of cotton, and he put the cotton just in front of his nostril, and the cotton was moving very slowly. So Sarvabauma Bhattacharya understood that he is still alive. But he knew everything. Sarvabauma Bhattacharya was a good scholar, so he could understand this is a special symptom of bhava, special symptom of love of Godhead. He knew the exact name, what is the name of the symptom. So he was a little surprised, because from Shastra he could understand that this type of bhava, this type of special devotional symptom is not found in ordinary human being. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu must be some extraordinary person. That much he was convinced. So now this chapter starts. Let us read what happened after that. Naumitang Gaurachandrang ja kutarka karkashashayam sarvabhumang sarvabhuma bhakti bhuman bhumanam acharat. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Lord Gaurachandra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who converted the hard-hearted Sarvabauma Bhattacharya, the reservoir of all bad logic, into a great devotee. So I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Chaitanya, who practically converted a hard-hearted person like Sarvabauma Bhattacharya into a great devotee. Jaya Jaya Gaurachandra, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Brinda. Abeshe Chalila Prabhu Jagannath Mandire, Jagannath Dekhi Preme Hoila Ostire. So Mahaprabhu was running after that quarrel on the road regarding his danda. Mahaprabhu was running very quickly and he was very eager to have darshan of Jagannath. Jagannath Valingite Chalila Dhaya, Mundire Purila Preme Abhishto Hoya. So when he was running to embrace Lord Jagannath, just by seeing Lord Jagannath, he became fainted. So what kind of emotion Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had? We saw Jagannath so many times, isn't it? What to speak of becoming fainted? Very normal. For us it is very normal, no? Very normal. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he has come to teach what is devotion to Lord Krishna. So he completely became fainted. Daive Sarvabhauma take tahake kare darshan, paricha marite tehu kaila nivaran. So the watchman, paricha means watchman. So watchman came to beat Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, although he fainted. But the watchman came to beat Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya stopped him. Don't beat him. Prabhura Sandarjayar Premera Vikar, Dekhi Sarvabhauma Hoila Bishmito Yapar. So by seeing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's beauty and the symptom of love of Godhead, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya became struck with wonder. Bahukhane Chaitanya nahe bhoger kalo hoilo, Sarvabhauma mone tobe upayo chintilo. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was waiting for a long time, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not come back to consciousness. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya thought, now it is time for offering bhoga. So better we take him to my house. Shishya parichadara Prabhu nila bahaya, ghare ani pavitra sthane rakhilo swaya. So then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya asked his disciples and also the watchman, please carry him to my house. And in Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's house there was a very sanctified place, very pure place, and he kept Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's body on that place. Shasha prashas nahi udaraspandan, dekhiya chintito hoilo Bhattacharyer mon. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not breathing and he did not have any movement on his belly. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya became thoughtful. He was in anxiety. What happened to this person? Sukha tula aninasha agrete dhorilo, ishato chalaye tula dekhi dharja hoilo. So then he brought a swab of cotton and he put it in front of his nostril, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's nostril, and he saw it was moving, that cotton swab was moving little bit. So then he understood this person is still alive. Boshi Bhattacharya mone karena vichar, ei Krishna Mahapremer sattiko vikar. Then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was thinking that this symptom is a symptom of love of Krishna. It is Mahabhav. It is not ordinary emotion. It is a very great emotion of love of Godhead. সুদীপ্ত সাত্বিক এই নাম যে প্রলয়, নিত্য সিদ্ধ ভক্ত সে সুদীপ্ত ভাব হয়। Immediately he identified that this is Suddipta Sattvik Bhav. There is a particular term that this Bhav is Suddipta Sattvik, and it is also called Pralay, annihilation. And only those who are Nitya Siddha Bhakta, there are different types of Bhakta. Some Bhaktas are Kripa Siddha, some Bhaktas are Sadhan Siddha. And Nitya Siddha means they are from spiritual world, from Golak Vrindavan. They are already perfect. So this type of Suddipta Sattvik Bhav is found only in Nitya Siddha Bhakta, the eternal associates of the Lord. Adhirira bhav jar tare vikar, manushya dehe dekhi bara chamatkar. Those who are eternal associate of Lord Krishna in Golak Vrindavan, only this type of Suddipta Sattvik Pralay Bhav can be found only in the eternal associates of Krishna. But how come this ordinary man, because Sarvabauma Bhattacharya was still thinking that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is an ordinary man. So how this symptom became manifested in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? So he was really surprised. Eto chinti Bhattacharya acheno boshiya, Nityananda di Singhaddare mililo asya. So in one side, Sarvabauma Bhattacharya was taking care of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Nityananda Prabhu came to Jagannath temple. Nityananda Prabhu, he came in front of the main gate, Singhaddar. Nityananda Prabhu came to the main gate of Jagannath temple. Taha shune loke kohe annanne baat, eko sannyasi ashi dekhi Jagannath. So Nityananda Prabhu heard that people are speaking about a sannyasi, that a sannyasi came some time before. A sannyasi came here and he became fainted by seeing Jagannath. Murchito hoilo chetana na hoy sharire, Sarvabauma loya gela apanar ghare. So Nityananda Prabhu heard this information, that he became fainted and Sarvabauma Bhattacharya took him to his own house. Shuni sobe janila ei Mahaprabhur karya, heno kale aila taha Gopinath Acharya. So then hearing this, they understood this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime. And at that time, Gopinath Acharya also arrived. Nadia nivashi visharadero jamata, Mahaprabhur bhaktatehu prabhutatta geta. So Gopinath Acharya was a resident of Nadia and son-in-law of Visharad and a devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He knew the true identity of his lordship. Gopinath Acharya knew that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is God himself, and he had relationship with Sarvabauma Bhattacharya. Mukunda Sahita Purve Ache Porichoy, Mukunda Dekhiya tar hoilo Vishmoy. So when he was studying in Nadia, he had acquaintance with Mukunda Datta, and when he saw Mukunda Datta there, he became surprised. Mukunda tahare dekhi koilo namaskar, teho alingiya puche prabhura samachar. So Mukunda, he offered his obeisances to Nityananda Prabhu, Gopinath Acharya, and Gopinath Acharya embraced Mukunda. Mukunda kahe prabhu riha hoilo agamane, ami sob ashiachi Mahaprabhur sane. So Mukunda told, actually Mahaprabhu has come here and we came following him. Nityananda Gosai ke Acharya koilo namaskar, sabe mili puche prabhuro bharta bar bar. So then Gopinath Acharya offered his obeisances to Nityananda Prabhu, and everybody was asking about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What happened to him? Where is he now? Mukunda kahe Mahaprabhu sannasa kariya, নীলাচলে আইলা সঙ্গে আমা সবা লইয়া. So Mukunda told that after taking sannyas, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to Nilachal along with us. আমা সবা ছাড়িয়া গে গেলা দর্শনে, আমি সব পাছে আইলাম তার অন্বেষণে. So Mahaprabhu left us and he came to have darshan of Lord Jagannath and we came following him. অন্য অন্য লোকের মুখে যে কথা শুনিল, সার্বভৌম গৃহে প্রভু অনুমান কইল. So hearing people talking about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we can understand that he is in Sarvabauma Bhattacharya's house. ঈশ্বর দর্শনে প্রভু প্রেমে অচেতন, সার্বভৌম লইয়া গেলা আপন ভবন. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became fainted and Sarvabauma Bhattacharya, he took him to his own house. When he saw that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became unconscious with devotional emotion, Sarvabauma Bhattacharya took him to his own house. তোমারও মিলনে যাবে আমার মন হইল, তোমারও মিলনে যাবে আমারও হইল মন, দৈবে সেই ক্ষণে পাইলু তোমারও দর্শন. So this is Mukunda Datta speaking, that when I was thinking to see you, Gopinath Acharya, by Krishna's arrangement, I got the chance to see you. চলো সবে যাই সার্বভৌমের ভবন, প্রভু দেখি পাছে করিব ঈশ্বর দর্শন. So they are in front of the main gate of Jagannath temple, but they did not want to see Lord Jagannath now. They told, let us go to Sarvabauma Bhattacharya's house, let us have darshan of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu first, later on we will come again to see Jagannath. They were very close to see Jagannath. It could take 1 minute to see Jagannath, but they are not interested because their heart was to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Heart was given to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. এত শুনি গোপীনাথ সবারে লইয়া, সার্বভৌম ঘরে গেলা হর্ষিত হইয়া. So hearing this, Gopinath Acharya, he took all the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and came to the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. সার্বভৌম স্থানে গিয়া প্রভুকে দেখিল, প্রভু দেখি আচার্যের দুঃখ হর্ষ হইল. So when he saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Gopinath Acharya, he felt happy and unhappy. Happy by seeing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, unhappy he was unconscious. সার্বভৌমে জানাইয়া সবা নীল অভ্যন্তরে, নিত্যানন্দ গুসাইরে তেহু কইল নমস্কারে. So then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya gave permission. Immediately he saw a group of devotees came. So he immediately happily permitted, okay, let them stay in my house. And he also offered his obeisances to Nityananda Prabhu. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, although he was a very great scholar, he felt a natural respect for Nityananda Prabhu and he offered obeisances to Nityananda Prabhu. সার্বভৌম পাঠাইল সবা দর্শন করিতে, চন্দনেশ্বর নিজ পুত্র দিল সবার সাথে. Then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya sent all the devotees to have darshan of Lord Jagannath, and he also sent Chandaneshwar, his own son, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's son. He sent with them to guide all these devotees. জগন্নাথ দেখি সবার হইল আনন্দ, ভাবেতে আবিষ্ট হইলা প্রভু নিত্যানন্দ. So all are in the same category. See, Nityananda Prabhu also became almost like a madman by seeing Lord Jagannath. সবে মিলি ধরিতানে সুস্থির করিল, ঈশ্বরের সেবকমালা প্রসাদানি দিল. So when Nityananda Prabhu became little, maddened by seeing Jagannath, then the pandas, the pujaris, they came with some garland from Lord Jagannath and they offered it to Nityananda Prabhu. প্রসাদ পাইয়া সবে হইলাই আনন্দিত মনে, পুনরূপী আইলা সবে মহাপ্রভুর স্থানে. So after receiving that garland from Lord Jagannath, they all became happy and they returned to Sarvabauma Bhattacharya's house to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. উচ্চ করি করে সবে নাম সংকীর্তন, তৃতীয় প্রহরে প্রভুর হইল চেতন। See, তৃতীয় প্রহর means one prohar means 2.5 hours, is it? Anybody knows? One prohar? 3 hours. 3 hours. So, Tritiya Prahar means 9 hours. 9 hours. 9 hours Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was unconscious. What kind of symptom it was? Continuously 9 hours unconscious. But when devotees started singing, then slowly Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came back to his external consciousness. হুঙ্কার করিয়া উঠে হরি হরি বলি, আনন্দে সার্বভৌম তার লইল পদ ধুলি। Mahaprabhu immediately stood up and started chanting Hari Hari, and Sarvabauma Bhattacharya immediately touched his feet. সার্বভৌম কহে শীঘ্র করহ মধ্যাহ্ন, মুই ভিক্ষা দিমু আজি মহাপ্রসাদান্ন। Sarvabauma Bhattacharya is a good person. Immediately told, you take lunch. Today I'll feed all the devotees. সমুদ্র স্নান করি মহাপ্রভু শীঘ্র আইলা, চরণ পাখালি প্রভু আসনে বসিলা। So Mahaprabhu took bath in the ocean, and very quickly he came back, and after washing his feet, he sat down on a asana. বহুত প্রসাদ সার্বভৌম আনাইল, তবে মহাপ্রভু সুখে ভোজন করিল। So Sarvabauma Bhattacharya brought prasadam from Jagannath temple, and Mahaprabhu, he took all prasadam with great satisfaction. সুবর্ণ থালির অন্ন উত্তম ব্যঞ্জন, ভক্তগণ সঙ্গে প্রভু করেন ভোজন। So a golden plate was given to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhu took prasadam along with his devotees, along with his followers. সার্বভৌম পরিবেশন করেন আপনে, প্রভু কহে মুরে দেহ লাফরা ব্যঞ্জনে। Sarvabauma Bhattacharya was serving with his own hands, and Mahaprabhu was telling, just give me some lafra vegetable. Lafra means mixed vegetable. পিঠাপনা দেহ তুমি ইহা সবাকারে, তবে ভট্টাচার্য কহে জুড়ি দুই করে। Mahaprabhu told all the pitha, pitha is famous in Bengal and in Orissa, rice cakes. So Mahaprabhu is telling, all you serve all these rice cakes to other devotees, for me just give me some mixed vegetable. So that means lafra was very favorite to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then Bhattacharya was folding his hand and telling, জগন্নাথ কইছে করিয়াছেন ভোজন, আজি সব মহাপ্রসাদ কর আস্বাদন। Sarvabauma Bhattacharya was telling, just see how Jagannath tested this prasadam. You just see, check. In this way he was serving Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. এত বলি পিঠাপানা সব খাওয়াইলা, ভিক্ষা করাইয়া আচমন করাইলা। In this way Sarvabauma Bhattacharya, he fed even rice cakes and all the sweet drinks. He fed Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then he gave water to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to wash his mouth and feet. আজ্ঞামাগি গেলা গোপীনাথ আচার্যকে লইয়া, প্রভুর নিকটে আইলা ভোজন করিয়া। Then Sarvabauma Bhattacharya took permission and took his own lunch. Then again he came back to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu after taking lunch. নমো নারায়ণায় বলি নমস্কার কইল, কৃষ্ণে মতিরস্তু বলি গোসাই কহিল। তো Sarvabauma Bhattacharya, he offered obeisances to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and told, Namo Narayana, I am offering my respectful obeisances unto Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That doesn't mean that Sarvabauma Bhattacharya thought that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is only Supreme Personality of Godhead. He was a Mayavadi. So he was thinking that everybody is Narayan, and especially Sannyasis are addressed among the Mayavadis. sannyasis are addressed as Narayana. Each sannyasi, there was a court case, and some lawyer asked why all the Narayanas are here. I mean, there was a court case among the Mayavadis. So they all went to the court and they're addressing each other as Narayan. So then the lawyer asked why all the Narayanas are here in the court. Anyway, this is the practice among the Mayavadis. They think everybody is Narayan. Prabhupada used to say Kutta Narayan, Chagal Narayan. They made everybody Narayan, Matsya Narayan. Especially the sannyasis. The sannyasis must address each other as Narayana. But what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Krishna Matirastu, let your attention be on Krishna. So immediately Sarvabauma Bhattacharya understood this person is a Vaishnava. He is not, he doesn't belong to our sampradaya. He doesn't belong to our community. শুনি সার্বভৌম মনে বিচার করিল বৈষ্ণব সন্ন্যাসী হু বচনে জানিল. So from his words I can understand that he is a Vaishnava sannyasi. গোপীনাথ আচার্যরে কহে সার্বভৌম গোসাইর জানিতে চাহি কাহা পূর্বাশ্রম. So because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was known to Gopinath Acharya, Sarvabauma Bhattacharya asked Gopinath Acharya, can you tell about his previous life? Gopinath Acharya kahe Navadvipe ghar Jagannatha nama padavi Mr. Purandar. So Gopinath Acharya told he is from Navadvip and his father's name is Jagannath Misra. Vishwambara namihar Tarihu putra Nilambara Chakravartir Hayana Dohitra. So his name is Vishwambar. Mahaprabhu's another name, Vishwambar. And he is the grandson of Nilambar Chakravarti. Yeah. Sarvabauma kahe Nilambar Chakravarti Visharader Samadhai ei taro kheti. Sarvabauma Bhattacharya, after hearing the name of Nilambar Chakravarti, who was a classmate of my father, that means Sarvabauma Bhattacharya's father, Visharad, Maheshwar Visharad was Sarvabauma Bhattacharya's father. So Sarvabauma Bhattacharya understood that Nilambar Chakravarti was classmate of my father. Mishra Purandar tar manya heno jani, pitar sambandhe dohake pujya kori mani. So I know, I heard the name of Jagannath Misra and he was respected by my father. So I also respect Jagannath Misra. Nadia sambandhe sarvabhaumorishta hoila, prito hoya gusaire kohite lagila. So when Sarvabauma Bhattacharya heard about the previous life of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that he is from Nadia, then Sarvabauma Bhattacharya became very happy. Sahajei pujya tumi areta sannyas, অতএব হও তোমার আমি নিজ দাস. Sarvabauma Bhattacharya told that you are naturally you are worshipable and over and above you are in the renounced order of life, you are a sannyasi. So I am like your servant. Sarvabauma Bhattacharya was telling like this. শুনি মহাপ্রভু কইল শ্রী বিষ্ণু স্মরণ ভট্টাচার্য কহে কিছু বিনয় বচন. So when Sarvabauma Bhattacharya told I am your servant, Mahaprabhu was telling Vishnu, Vishnu, Vishnu. And then Mahaprabhu was showing his own humility. তুমি জগৎগুরু সর্বলোক হিতকর্তা বেদান্ত পরাও সন্ন্যাসীর উপকর্তা. So Mahaprabhu commented, Mahaprabhu told Sarvabauma Bhattacharya, you are Jagadguru. You are working for the benefit of all people. You are Vedanta teacher and you are helping a sannyasi. So in this way, amanina manadena, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teaching, that don't expect any respect from anybody, but you show respect to others. So in this way, Mahaprabhu was showing respect to Sarvabauma Bhattacharya. আমি বালক সন্ন্যাসী ভালো মন্দ নাহি জানি তোমার আশ্রয় নিলু গুরু করি মানি. I am a small boy in front of you. I am nothing. I don't know anything. I took shelter of you as my guru. You are my guru. So in this way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was applying his formula, amanena manadena. He was showing all respect to Sarvabauma Bhattacharya. Tomar sanga lage mor iha agaman, sarva prakare karibe amay palon. So I have come here to meet you, to associate with you. So please maintain me, kindly maintain me in all respects. Aji je hoilo amar boroi bipatti, taha hoite koile tumi amar abbahati. So today I was in a great danger because I lost my consciousness. But you are the person who helped me in such a dangerous situation. ভট্টাচার্য কহে একলে তুমি না যাইও দর্শনে আমার সঙ্গে যাবে কিংবা আমার লোকসনে. Yes, you don't go alone to see Lord Jagannath, because if you go alone again you may become fainted. So either with me or with my disciples you go. প্রভু কহে মন্দির ভিতরে না যাইব গুরুরেরও পাশে রহি দর্শন করিব. Mahaprabhu said, yes, I will not go close to Jagannath. I'll have darshan of Jagannath from Gurur Stambha. So those who have visited Jagannath temple, that the same Gurur is still there. And there is a handprint of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also there on the same Gurur Stambha. Gopinath Acharya kahe Sarvabauma, tumi gusaile loya karayo darshanam. Then Sarvabauma Bhattacharya told Gopinath Acharya, so whenever Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wants to have darshan of Jagannath, you please accompany him. Gopinath Acharya should accompany him, suggested by Sarvabauma Bhattacharya. Amar matri shasagriho nirjanasthan, taha basadeho kara sarva samadhan. So he instructed Gopinath Acharya that my auntie's house is there, Mashi. Mashi is a maternal auntie. Is it not? So my auntie's house is there. That is a solitary place. You please take Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You take the sannyasi there, and you take all care of him. Gopinath Prabhu loya taha basha dilo, jolo jolo patra diko sarva samadhana koilo. Then Gopinath Acharya took Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the house of Sarvabauma Bhattacharya's aunt. And he gave him water pot and all paraphernalia needed for sannyasi. আর দিন গোপীনাথ প্রভু স্থানে গিয়া সজ্জোত্থান দর্শন করাইল লইয়া. So another day Gopinath Acharya took Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to see Mangalarati. He took Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to have darshan of Jagannath in Mangalarati. মুকুন্দ দত্ত লইয়া আইলা সার্বভৌম স্থানে, সার্বভৌম কিছু তারে বলিলা বচনে. After that, Mukunda Datta took Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Sarvabauma Bhattacharya, and Sarvabauma Bhattacharya started speaking. প্রকৃতি বিনীত সন্ন্যাসী দেখিতে সুন্দর, আমারও বহু প্রীতি বারে ইহারও উপর. Sarvabauma Bhattacharya told, this sannyasi is very gentle, very humble, and also very handsome, very beautiful. So whenever I see him, I feel love for him. কোন সম্প্রদায়ে সন্ন্যাস করিয়াছে গ্রহণ, কিবা নাম ইহার শুনিতে হয় মন. So from which community of sannyas he accepted sannyas order, I want to hear. And what is his sannyas name, I want to know. গোপীনাথ কহে নাম শ্রীকৃষ্ণ চৈতন্য, গুরু ইহার কেশব ভারতী মহাধন্য. So Gopinath Acharya informed that his name is Sri Krishna Chaitanya, sannyas name, and his guru, sannyas guru, is Keshav Bharati. Sarvabhauma kahe ihar nam sarvottam, Bharati sampradaya ihu hayano madhyam. So Sarvabauma Bhattacharya told that he took sannyas from Keshav Bharati. This is Bharati Sampradaya. Bharati group, which is medium class community. Among Mayavadi sannyasis also there is first class, second class, third class, like this. So Bharati is medium class. So he took sannyas from medium class. And his name is Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Gopinath kahiyar nahi vajjapekha, atayab bara sampradayar nahi ko yapekha. Gopinath Bhattacharya immediately protested that he took sannyas from Bharati, but it doesn't matter because he is God. He was thinking in mind, he is God. So for God it doesn't matter whether he took sannyas from a greater community or middle class community, it doesn't matter. Bhattacharya kahe ihar praura jauvan, kemote sannyasa dharma hoibe rakkhan. So then Sarvabauma Bhattacharya told that he is very young sannyasi, very young age. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas around at the age of 24. 24? So, very young man. How will he maintain his sannyas life? A young man. Nirantar ihake vedanta shunaibo, vairagya advaita marge pravesha karaibo. So, Sarvabauma Bhattacharya told, I will teach him Vedanta. Constantly I will make him listen Vedanta. And in this way I will attract him to the path of renunciation. Sarvabauma Bhattacharya did not understand. Sometimes I have seen in my village, at that time there was a tiger in my village. The village from where I am coming, there was a tiger. In that village, in the forest, there was a tiger. So there was a dog in our house, you understand. And when the tiger came suddenly near our house, the dog attacked the tiger. You understand? The dog attacked the tiger. And the tiger understood, this is a small dog, how dare he is trying to attack me. So he just make a big sound, the tiger, he just roared like anything. So then immediately the dog ran and he entered under our cot. And he was there almost 3-4 days under the cot. So the small dog could not estimate. He underestimated the tiger. Similar thing happened here. Sarvabauma Bhattacharya, he is telling that I will teach him Vedanta and I will make him attracted to the path of renunciation. कहन यदि पुनरपि जुगपट्ट दिया संस्कार करिए उत्तम संप्रदाय आनिया. Because he is in the middle class community of sannyas. Bharati sampradaya is middle class. So if he permits, if he wants, I can again reinitiate him. I can elevate him on the first class community of sannyas level. Sarvabauma Bhattacharya was telling like this. শুনি গোপীনাথ মুকুন্দ দুহে দুঃখী হইলা, গোপীনাথ আচার্য কিছু কহিতে লাগিলা. Hearing this from Sarvabauma Bhattacharya, naturally Gopinath and Mukunda Datta, Gopinath Acharya and Mukunda Datta became unhappy. What this man is telling, he is God himself and he is, trying to initiate him and he is trying to change him, and change his sannyas level. What he is telling? Bhattacharya tumi ihar na jano mohima, bhagavatta lakkhanera ihate shima. Then Gopinath Acharya opened his mouth. My dear Bhattacharya, you don't know his glory. He has the symptom of, the ultimate symptom of Godhead. He is God. He is God. তাহাতে বিখ্যাত ইহু পরম ঈশ্বর, অজ্ঞস্থানে কিছু নহে বিজ্ঞের গোচর. Those who are wise, they understand he is God. But a person like you, who is ignorant, for you it is not important. But he is God himself. You must know that he is God himself. শিষ্যগণ কহে ঈশ্বর কহ কোন প্রমাণে, But Acharya kahe Biggamata Ishvara Lakhane. Then the disciples of Sarvabauma Bhattacharya challenged, how come, how you say he is God? What is the proof? Then Acharya told, Gopinath Acharya told, that the opinion of the great Mahajans can confirm that he is God. Shishya kahe Ishvara Tattva Sadhi Anumane, Acharya kahe Anuman nahe Ishvara Gene. So then all the disciples of Sarvabauma Bhattacharya told that if he is established as God through logic and hypothesis, then we can consider. Then Gopinath Acharya told, by logic and hypothesis you can never establish who is God and who is not. Then how one can understand who is God and who is not God? Anumana pramanna he ishwar tattva gyane, kripa bina ishwarere keho nahi jane. By guessing or hypothesis, you can never understand who is God and who is not God. The only proof, the first category proof is mercy. If God bestows His mercy to someone, he can understand that he is God. Ishwarera kripale hoyto jahare, sei to ishwara tattva janibare pare. Whoever has received a drop of mercy from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only he and he can understand who is God. Without the mercy of God, nobody can understand God. Athapiti devo padambujadaya prasadalasanugrihita evahi janati tattang bhagavan mahimna nachanna kopi chirang vichinnan. Only by the droplet of mercy coming from the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one can understand God. Otherwise, even if you research from millions of lifetimes, by your research work, you can never understand God. But if you receive a droplet of mercy from the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, you can understand God. Otherwise, by research work for millions of lifetimes, you cannot understand. This is a sloka from, I think, Bhagavatam. It is not mentioned. Yeah, Bhagavatam. Jadyapi jagat guru tumi shastra gyanavan, prithivite nahi pandit tumara saman. Ishwarera kripalesh nahi ko tumate, ateva ishwar tattva na paro janite. Although you are Jagat Guru, Guru of the whole world, and you are very well versed with Shastra, there is no scholar equal to you. But still, because you are deprived of the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that's why you cannot identify Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Tumaro nahi ko dosha shastre ei kahe, pandit tad ishwar tattva gyan kabhu nahe. So it is not your fault. Shastra declares that God cannot be realized by scholarship. Sarvabauma kahe acharya kaha sabdhane, tumate ishwara kripa ithe ki pramane. Then Sarvabauma Bhattacharya, as he is a scholar, he started counter argument that be little careful, that you are claiming that you have received the mercy of Lord. What is the proof that you have received the mercy of the Lord and I did not receive the mercy of the Lord? What is the proof? Acharya kahe vastu vishaye hoy vastu gyan, vastu tattva gyan hoy kripate praman. So Gopinath Acharya very simply replied that if you know the exact identity of something, that means you have knowledge. So that knowledge comes from mercy. So I know Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is God. So that means I received his mercy. But you don't know. You don't know his identity. Iharo sharire sab ishwara lakkhan, mahapremavestumi payacho darshan. And you have already seen, for 9 hours continuously he was unconscious. So do you think this symptom is possible in ordinary person? You have already have seen that how he was unconscious for continuously 9 hours. তবু তো ঈশ্বর জ্ঞান না হয় তোমার, ঈশ্বরের মায়া এই বলি ব্যবহার. Still you cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that is the credit goes to Krishna's illusory energy, Krishna's Maya Shakti. Due to the power of Maya Shakti, even a scholar like you cannot identify Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. দেখিলে না দেখে তারে বহির্মুখ জন, শুনি হাসি সার্বভৌম বলিল বচন. So because you are absorbed in external consciousness, so that's why even you have seen him, even if you have seen his beauty and his symptoms of love of Godhead, still you are absorbed in external consciousness. That's why you cannot really identify him. Then Sarvabauma Bhattacharya smiled and told, ইষ্টগোষ্ঠী বিচার করি না করি হরোষ, শাস্ত্রদৃষ্টে কহি কিছু না লইও দোষ. Then Sarvabauma Bhattacharya, he was also a gentleman. He told, don't become angry. Let us discuss on the basis of Shastra. মহাভাগবত হয় চৈতন্য গোসাই, এই কলিকালে বিষ্ণুর অবতার নাই. There is no doubt that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Gosai is Mahabhagavat, a pure devotee. There is no doubt about it. But in Kali-Yuga there is no incarnation of God. Sarvabauma Bhattacharya, he started discussion on the basis of Shastra. অতএব ত্রিযুগ করি কহি কহি বিষ্ণু নাম, কলিযুগে অবতার নাহি শাস্ত্র জ্ঞান. As far as my knowledge in Shastra, in Vishnu Sahasranam he is called Trijuga. Trijuga means he appears in three Yuga, Sattva, Treta and Dapara. And he doesn't appear in Kali Yuga. That's why his name is Trijuga. শুনিয়া আচার্য কহে দুঃখী হইয়া মনে, শাস্ত্রজ্ঞ করিয়া তুমি করয় অভিমানে. Then Gopinath Acharya told that he became unhappy by hearing Sarvabauma Bhattacharya's comment that you think yourself to be well versed in Shastra, but actually this is your false ego, you don't know Shastra. ভাগবত ভারত দুই শাস্ত্রের প্রধান, সেই দুই গ্রন্থ বাক্যে নাহি অবদান. Although you are well versed in Shastra, you did not study Mahabharata and you did not study Srimad Bhagavat. সেই দুই কহে কলিতে সাক্ষাৎ অবতার, তুমি কহ কলিতে নাহি বিষ্ণুর প্রচার. So as far as Mahabharata is concerned and Srimad Bhagavatam is concerned, very clearly they declare, it is declared in Mahabharata and Srimad Bhagavatam that there is incarnation of Godhead in Kali-Yuga also. And you are telling that in Kali-Yuga there is no incarnation. কলিযুগে লীলাবতার না করে ভগবান, অতএব ত্রিযুগ করি কহি তার নাম. Then why he is called Trijuga? Trijuga means he appears in Sattva, Treta, Dapar. Because in Kali-Yuga, as far as Bhagavat is concerned, it is written there, Channa Kalau. Channa Kalau means in Kali-Yuga he comes in disguise. Although he is God, he doesn't come as God. He comes as devotee. So that's why it is covered. Channa Kalau, in Kali-Yuga, his incarnation is covered. Covered incarnation. That's why he is called Trijuga. This is the counter argument given by Gopinath Acharya. প্রতি যুগে করেন কৃষ্ণ যুগ অবতার, তর্কনিষ্ঠ হৃদয় তোমার নাহিক বিচার. Lord comes in every yuga. Yugavatar is mentioned in Shastra. Sattva, Treta, Dapar, Kali. In 4 Yuga, Lord comes as Yugavatar. He takes incarnation as Yugavatar. So your mind is polluted by logic. So that's why you cannot understand. আসন বর্ণস্ত্রয় হি অশ্য গৃণীত অনু যুগন্তনু Shukla raktas tatha pita idaning Krishna tangata. Shukla raktas tatha pita idaning Krishna tangata. So in 4 Yuga Lord comes, it is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. In 4 Yuga Krishna comes, he takes 4 colors. Shukla, white, Rakta, reddish, Pita, yellow, and Krishna. So Gargamuni told this verse in Dwapara Yuga. In Dwapara Yuga, Krishna comes in blackish color. But he also told in other Yuga he comes with yellow color. What is that yellow color? In which Yuga he comes with yellow color? That is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Iti Daparurvishastubanti Jagadisharam Nanatantra Vidhanana Kalabopi Tathasrino Krishna Varnang Tisha Krishnang Shangapangastra Parshadam Jaggahi Sankirtana Prayoiri Jajantihi Sumedhasa. So, it is described in Srimad Bhagavatam that in different yoga how Krishna comes, and now you listen from me how Krishna comes in Kali-Yuga. Krishna Varnam Tisha Krishnam. Tisha means bodily color. His bodily color is Akrishna, not blackish. And all the time he is glorifying Krishna. He comes with his associates. And he starts Sankirtan Jagga. Jajantihi Shumadasha. Those who are super intelligent, they only worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Suvarna Varna Hemanga Varangaschandanangadi Sannasakrichama Santa Nishta Santi Parayana. Mahabharata. In Mahabharata it is described when God appears in Kali-Yuga, what will be the symptom? Suvarna Varna, his bodily color will be molten gold. Hemanga is also golden. Varangaschandananga, the beautiful body smeared with sandalwood pulp. Sannasa Krichama, he will take sannyas and accept a very austere life. Nishtha Shanti Parayana, and he will be very peaceful because he will be preaching love of Godhead. তোমার আগে এত কথার নাহি প্রয়োজন উষর ভূমিতে যেন বীজের রূপন. So Gopinath Acharya gave solid argument, but still he is telling what is the use of all this solid argument in front of you, because you are like desert. Your mind is polluted, heart is polluted with dry logic and argument, so you will not understand all this proof from Shastra. তোমার উপরে তার কৃপা যবে হবে এসব সিদ্ধান্ত তবে তুমিও কহিবে. So Gopinath Acharya told, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will bestow his mercy on you, then you will also speak like me. তোমার যে শিষ্য কহে কুতর্ক নানাবাদ ইহার কি দোষ এই মায়ার প্রসাদ. Even your disciples, whatever arguments they are showing, this is nothing but the glory of Maya, the glory of illusory energy. Jat shaktaya vadatang vadinang boi vivada sangvada bhuvo bhavanti krivanti chaishang muharatma muhang tasmai namo ananta gunaya bhumne. So this is glorifying Maya, how Maya bewilders everyone. Juktang shanti sarvatra bhashante brahmana jatha mayang madhya mudgujya vadatang king durghatam. In almost all cases, whatever learned brahmanas speak becomes accepted. Nothing is impossible for one who takes shelter of my illusory energy and speaks under her influence. Once somebody is influenced by Maya, the speaker and listener, they both become captivated. The speaker also speaks on the basis of illusory energy, and the listener also accepts on the basis of illusory energy. তবে ভট্টাচার্য কহে যাহ গুসার স্থানে আমার নামে গণসহিতে কর নিমন্ত্রণে. Then Sarvabauma Bhattacharya told, okay, you go to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was addressing as Gosai. You go to the Gosai and ask him to come and take lunch. প্রসাদ অনিতারে করাহ আগে ভিক্ষা পশ্চাদাসী আমারে করাইও শিক্ষা. So first bring prasadam from Jagannath temple and offer him lunch. Then after that you come again and give me your instructions. Acharya Bhagunipati Shalaka Bhattacharya Nindastuti Hasya Shikha Karano Acharya. So in this way, Gopinath Acharya is the husband of Sarvabauma Bhattacharya's sister. And Sarvabauma Bhattacharya, he was brother-in-law. So relationship was a little friendly. Acharyer Siddhante Mukunder Hoilo Santosh, Bhattacharyer Baikya Mone Hoilo Dukkha Rosh. Then when Mukunda Datta heard the conclusion from Gopinath Acharya, he was happy, because he was giving proof from Srimad Bhagavatam and Mahabharata. But when he heard from Sarvabauma Bhattacharya, he felt, unhappy. Gosharisthane Acharya Koilo Agaman, Bhattacharya Name Tare Koilo Nimantran. So then Gopinath Acharya came to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he asked him to take lunch. Mukunda Shahita Kahe Acha Bhattacharya Katha, Bhattacharya Ninda Kore Mane Paya Betha. So then both of them, Gopinath Acharya and Mukunda Datta, they were criticizing Sarvabauma Bhattacharya, that he was not accepting even Shastra and he is Mayavadi like this. They are criticizing. Then the remarkable is the reply given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Shuni Mahaprabhu kohe oise mat kaho, ama prati Bhattacharyer hoy anugraha. Please don't criticize. Mahaprabhu instructed them, because Sarvabauma Bhattacharya is very merciful to me. Amaro sannasa dharma chaheno rakhite, vatsalye koruna koren ki doshi hate. Sometimes Lord is called Adosha Darashi. He doesn't see the fault of anyone. There are two types of deity. One deity is Jagannath. His eyes are very big, because he wants to magnify the glories of devotees. So if some devotee has small quality, Jagannath with his big eyes, he makes it magnified. Oh, such a great devotee. And there is another deity in South India whose eyes is closed. Who is that? Balaji. Because he closed his eyes, that I don't like to see any fault in my devotees. Balaji doesn't like to see any fault. That's why he closed his eyes. And Jagannath wants to magnify the glories of devotees. Even if some devotee has small quality, Jagannath wants to magnify. So that's why his eyes are big. Opposite, Balaji and Jagannath, they are in opposite mood. One doesn't want to see the fault of devotees, that's why he closed his eyes. So Mahaprabhu is Adosha Darashi. He doesn't want to see any fault in Sarvabauma Bhattacharya. So he told, he loves me like his son. So don't criticize him. Ardina Mahaprabhu Bhattacharya Shane Anande Kurila Jagannatha Darashane. So another day, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to have darshan of Lord Jagannath with Sarvabauma Bhattacharya. Bhattacharya Sange Taro Mandire Aila Prabhure Asan Diya Apane Boshila. So then he came back to Sarvabauma Bhattacharya's house, and Sarvabauma Bhattacharya offered him a sitting place. Vedanta paraite tobe arambha korila, sneha bhakti kori kichu prabhure kohila. So immediately he started teaching Vedanta. Sarvabauma Bhattacharya started giving classes on Vedanta immediately. And he lovingly told few words. Vedanta Sravane Sannasira Dharma Nirantara Karatumi Vedanta Sravana. So it is the duty of a sannyasi to listen Vedanta constantly. So please listen the explanation of Vedanta constantly. Prabhu kahe more tumi karo anugraha, sei se kartavya tumi jai more kaha. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told, this is your mercy that you want to teach me Vedanta, and whatever you say, it becomes my duty. সাত দিন পর্যন্ত হইছে করে না শ্রবণে, ভালো মন্দ নাহি কহে বসি মাত্র শুনে। Sarvabauma Bhattacharya continued his explanation of Vedanta continuously for 7 days, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was completely silent. He was only listening without asking any question, without passing any comment. He was only listening. অষ্টম দিবসে তারে পুছে সার্বভৌম, 7 দিন করো তুমি বেদান্ত শ্রবণ। On the 8th day, Sarvabauma Bhattacharya asked, my dear Gosai, you are listening Vedanta for 7 days, but I don't know whether you have understood it or not. ভালো মন্দ নাহি কহ রহ মৌন ধরি, বুঝো কিনা বুঝো ইহা বুঝিতে না পারি। So you are passing no comment, neither positive comment nor negative comment. So I cannot understand whether you understood my explanation or not. প্রভু কহে মূর্খ আমি নাহি অধ্যয়ন, তোমার অজ্ঞাতে মাত্র করিয়ে শ্রবণ। So Mahaprabhu said, I am full number 1. I never study. So because you ordered me to hear Vedanta, that's why I am hearing. Otherwise, I am a full number 1. I don't study. সন্ন্যাসীর ধর্ম লাগি শ্রবণ মাত্র করি, তুমি যে এই অর্থ করো বুঝিতে না পারি। Because it is the duty of a sannyasi to listen Vedanta. That's why I am listening. Otherwise, whatever explanation you are giving, I cannot understand. Bhattacharya কহে না বুঝি হেন জ্ঞান যার, বুঝিবারও লাগি সেহ পুছে পুনর্বার। Then Sarvabauma Bhattacharya told that if you don't understand, that you should ask that I don't understand, then I will explain again. তুমি শুনি শুনি রহ মৌন মাত্র ধরি, হৃদয় কি আছে তোমার বুঝিতে না পারি। You are completely silent, no comment, neither positive nor negative. Then I cannot understand whether you understand or not. So this is another symptom of God, gravity, gambhir. God has many symptoms. One symptom is gambhir. Gambhir means is very grave. 7 days is listening without any comment. It must be the symptom of gravity. প্রভু কহে সূত্রের অর্থ বুঝিয়ে নির্মল, তোমার ব্যাখ্যা শুনি মন হয়তো বিকল। Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told, when I listen the sutra, Vedanta sutra, like Janmadrisya Jata, Anandamaya Bhashat, Raso Vaisha, Ekoham Bahushyam, like this there are Shastra Janitvat, there are many formula given in Vedanta Sutra. So when I hear this sutra, I can immediately understand. But when I hear your explanation, I cannot understand. সূত্রের অর্থ ভাষ্য কহে প্রকাশিয়া, তুমি ভাষ্য কহ সূত্রের অর্থ আচ্ছা দিয়া। Generally, explanation is meant to clarify the sutra, but in your case it is opposite. Your explanation is covering the sutra. সূত্রের মুখ্য অর্থ না করহ ব্যাখ্যান, কল্পনার্থে তুমি তাহা করো আচ্ছাদন। You are not giving direct explanation of the sutra. You are making some imagination, you are making some imaginary explanation, and that you are explaining to me, which I cannot understand. উপনিষদ শব্দ যেই মুখ্য অর্থ হয়, সেই অর্থ মুখ্য ব্যাসসূত্রে সব কয়। So whatever is explained in Upanishad, the same thing is explained by Vyasadeva in Vedanta Sutra, and if I take the direct meaning, it is very clear. But when I hear your explanation, it becomes hazy, it becomes completely cloudy. মুখ্যার্থ ছাড়িয়া করো গৌণার্থ কল্পনা, অবিদ্যাবৃত্তি ছাড়ি করো শব্দের লক্ষণা। So you are rejecting the direct meaning and you are imposing some imaginary speculation. That's why I cannot understand your explanation. প্রমাণের মধ্যে শ্রুতি প্রমাণ প্রধান, শ্রুতি যে মুখ্যার্থ কহে সেই তো প্রমাণ। Among all the proofs, Shastric proof. Shruti or Veda is the highest. And whatever Veda says, it should be understood directly, not with some speculation. Jibero astivishthadui shankhagamay Shrutibhakya sei dui mahapavitra hoy. According to Veda, stool of any living entity is, contagious or polluting. But in the same Veda it is mentioned, the cow dung is pure. And bones of any living entity is impure. But in the same Veda it is mentioned that conch, although it is bone of a living entity, but still it is pure. So we just accept the direct meaning. Even in Bhagavad Gita, in the first sloka, it is mentioned Dharma Kshatriya Kurukshetra. So if you read explanation by other scholar, they say Kurukshetra means this body, 5 Pandava means eyes, ears, tongue. These are 5 Pandavas, and Kurukshetra means this body. So Prabhupada would become very angry. Where it is written Kurukshetra is the body? In which dictionary you found that Kurukshetra is mentioned as body? And in which dictionary you found that 5 Pandava means eyes, ears and 5 senses? In which dictionary it is written? Nowhere it is written. No, in no Shastra it is written. So this is called showing unnecessary scholarship. You understand? Shastra cannot be understood in that way. Kurukshetra means Kurukshetra. The place is still there. Similarly in Vedas, whatever is written, we have to accept directly, not with any speculation or showing some scholarship. And I have seen many so-called religious leaders, they give some explanation. Somebody was explaining Durga, that there is Asura, there is Ganesh is sitting on what? Mushika, rat. Somebody is giving explanation. Rat means like this. Lakshmi is sitting on owl. Somebody is giving explanation. Owl means, you see, they cannot see daytime. So those who are very much after money, Lakshmi means money, they become blind. Like this, giving explanation. Actually, there is no owl. Lakshmi is never sitting on owl. It is some symbol. Like this. So many, so-called intelligent person, they are applying their brain to give some imaginary explanation, which is not encouraged by our Vaishnava Parampara. Our Vaishnava Parampara says, yes, Lakshmi is sitting on owl, but not owl that we see. There is owl in heaven, speaking owl. Owl can speak. There is that rat where Ganesha is sitting, is not ordinary rat. If you go to heaven, there are rats who can speak. So, we accept whatever is written is acceptable. Not that this is some symbol or explaining something else. It is not like this. So, Sarvabauma Bhattacharya, he was explaining Vedanta and Shariraka Bhashya, commentary by Shankaracharya, which was actually speculative, not direct meaning. And Mahaprabhu is giving example that whatever is written in Vedas, even apparently contradictory, stool of an animal, cow dung, is stool of an animal, but it is written in Veda, it is pure, it is pure. We have to accept like this. Sato pramano Veda satya jai kaya, lakhana korile tar sata pramanna hani hoy. So whatever is written in Veda, it should be directly accepted as ultimate proof. But if we add some speculative meaning, then the real meaning is lost. So time is almost finished. Chapter is not even half finished. So what should I do? We have only 10 minutes left, 9 minutes left. Question answer. So, okay. So, I just, in words, I finished the chapter that in this way, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was, explaining that he was objecting actually, your explanation is wrong. You are giving some speculative meaning, imaginary meaning. It is not the real meaning of Vedanta. Real meaning of Vedanta means Krishna is God. Mahaprabhu's conclusion. Krishna is God himself. That you should accept. So in this way there was argument and counter argument for a long time. Ultimately Chaitanya Mahaprabhu completely smashed. Sarvabauma Bhattacharya was a good scholar, great scholar. He could understand Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's every word. And when he understood, yes, this person, whatever argument he is giving from Shastra is undeniable. So ultimately he accepted. Even after that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed him 6 hands form, Sarabhuj. Sarabhuj, when Sarvabauma Bhattacharya saw that Sarabhuj, immediately understood, oh, Baba, with whom I am playing? This is God himself. God himself. Immediately Sarvabauma Bhattacharya surrendered. So in this way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu liberated this Mayavadi philosopher. And when the leader was liberated, he had so many disciples, followers, even the king. King told, my dear Sarvabauma Bhattacharya, you have accepted Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as God. I blindly accept Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as God because you have accepted. So that was the caliber of Sarvabauma Bhattacharya. And after that, Mahaprabhu came to Mangalarati and he took some prasadam from Jagannath. And he called, Sarvabauma Bhattacharya was sleeping. He called Sarvabauma Bhattacharya. Sarvabauma Bhattacharya woke up and Mahaprabhu gave him prasadam. Sarvabauma Bhattacharya took that prasadam without washing his mouth, without washing his hand and feet. He took that prasadam. So in this way, there are very beautiful pastimes. And if you go into details, it will take few months. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained Atmaram Bhars from Srimad Bhagavatam. Atmaram Bhars itself, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained, as far as I remember, 64 ways. Based on dictionary, not speculation, no speculation. Based on dictionary, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained Atmaram Bhars into 64 ways. So in this way, Sarvabauma Bhattacharya completely became convinced, and especially after seeing 6 armed forms of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was overwhelmed. Yes, he is God himself. So in this way, Sarvabauma Bhattacharya surrendered. So now I like to keep the remaining minutes for question, answer, comments. If you have any question, please raise your hand. Jayanta Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I just like to understand that why Mayavad or Mayavadi, Bhashya Sunile Hoy Sarvanas, why they are so dangerous? My query is that, first query. And because, my second query, Prabhu. Okay, you can repeat.
Yeah, because they don't accept Krishna as God. They say, you are God, I am God. So what is the question of devotion? Your devotion will be killed, destroyed, if you believe Mayavad. So that's why Sarvanash for devotee means losing your devotion. Krishna Prem Prayojan. This is the only need of our life, that we have to love Krishna. Love of Godhead, love of Krishna is the only need of soul. And once you listen Mayavad explanation, your love of Godhead is destroyed because you are thinking, I am Krishna. Is it clear?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay.
And Prabhuji's second query is that, like for a Kanishta Adhikari like me, so it takes a lot of time, a lot of years to cross over anarthas, Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Matsarya, the 6 anarthas. So senior devotees say that instead of focusing on anarthas, you focus on artha pravritti. Anartha nibriti, artha pravritti. So doing more and more chanting, doing more and more hearing Bhagavad Shravan. So please clarify, Prabhuji.
Yeah. You are hungry. So if you are absorbed in your hunger, the hunger problem will not be solved. But if you eat, then your hunger problem will be solved. Tushti pushti kshudapayo ghasham. When you are absorbed in Krishna consciousness, that means you are eating. So your material hunger will go. All these anartha means material hunger. All these anarthas are symptom of material hunger. But once you are eating, your hunger will go. That's why it is said tushti, pushti, kshudopaya. Three things. When you are eating, tushti means you are satisfied. Pushti means your body gets nourished. Kshudopaya means your hunger is gone. So in this way, three things are done together when you are eating. Similarly, when you are absorbing in Krishna consciousness, practicing Krishna consciousness, then all the anartha will automatically go. When you eat food, automatically hunger goes. So when you take Krishna consciousness, practice Krishna consciousness, automatically your material hankering, which is known as anartha, vanishes. Is it clear?
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, after taking sannyasa, this Mahaprabhu came to Jagannath Puri and he showed mercy. First Mayavadi, I think first Mayavadi. But he, so many opponents were, so many Maya. How it happened? He could have delivered those sure. Mayavadis in Navadvipa first.
Yeah, because
they are propagating this, Mayavadi theory.
Mahaprabhu, he deputed Nityananda Prabhu for Bengal. Just like when Prabhupada went to America, somebody asked Prabhupada, why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not come to America to preach Krishna consciousness? He is God himself. He could fly, he could go without flying. Why he did not go to America for preaching? Then Prabhupada replied, he kept this service for me. Similarly, for Bengal, Mahaprabhu told Nityananda Prabhu, Amar Saddha Kaj hoy toma hoite. I cannot preach to these Bengalis. So you please go, which is impossible task for me, will become possible by you. So in this way, Nityananda Prabhu preached in Bengal. He deputed, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu deputed Nityananda Prabhu for preaching in Bengal. That was the secret. Okay? Haribol. Other question?
Okay.
Okay. So you can take prasadam.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for your wonderful class. And the devotees also, we expect that everybody enjoyed this. আপনারা আনন্দ পেয়েছেন এই ক্লাসে যোগদান করে? Oh, very good. So we will end up here. We will thank Prabhu by chanting 3 times Hari Bol. Ochana, ochana. Arektu jore. Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol! ধন্যবাদ আপনাদেরকে। কালকে সকালে আবার দেখা হবে 10:30টার সময়, কিন্তু 10 মিনিট আগে আসলে ভালো। হরে কৃষ্ণ। So tomorrow we'll start our 3rd day of Sravana Utsav. Hope you are getting enlightened and getting inspired to advance in Krishna consciousness. At the same time, we are having spiritual knowledge. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's birthplace. How fortunate we are. So take the advantage. Prasadam is always there. If you have higher taste, then the lower taste will go away. Hare Krishna. Yes, prasadam start. Mahaprasade Govinde.